The world's largest and oldest oil cartel's taken sides in the British-Scottish independence row, saying it can't imagine Edinburgh's future without London. The organisation has extensive ties with the United Kingdom, and its biggest exporters are big fans of British weapons. Our London correspondent Polly Boiko told me why OPEC's weighing in now.
The British government's got tight links to OPEC, and in fact the British government sells arms export licences to a number of its member states, including Saudi Arabia. So for critics, it's hardly a surprise that OPEC is chiming in, along with Westminster, in dismissing the idea for Scottish independence. Now, the OPEC Secretary-General, General Abdallah Salim El-Badri, who happens to be a former minister under Colonel Gaddafi, he's firmly rejected the notion for Scottish independence. The head of the oil cartel said that there isn't much oil left in Scotland anyway, and he's dismissed the idea of an independent Edinburgh ever coming under the umbrella of OPEC, which controls 1/3 of the world's oil supply. He said that the interests of both London and Edinburgh are both served under the umbrella of the United Kingdom, which is all likely to be a blow for the pro-independence camp in Scotland. A big part of the Scottish nationalist independence campaign hinges on the notion that the oil reserves above the Scottish border are going to be what makes the Scottish independence campaign viable, or the idea of Scottish independence viable. The Scottish National Party has even estimated that oil reserves could account for up to £300,000 per every Scot. So the First Minister of Scotland, Alex Salmond, has told RT previously that if Scotland were to gain independence, then it would be prepared to take on some of the UK's national debt, because it would then be in control of vast swathes of the UK's oil reserves. According to some estimates, 90% of the UK's oil is actually located in the North Sea in Scotland. And in fact, from all the European countries, Norway is the only country that has more oil than Scotland. So there's a real difference in opinions between the two camps, and those on the pro-independence side of the argument have even accused Westminster of playing down the amount of oil that Scotland has in its oil reserves in order to quell separatist feelings. The Scottish referendum is now less than a year away, and we've had the pro-independence camp in Scotland really accusing Westminster of waging a campaign called Project Fear to scare Scots off ticking the yes box when it comes to the Scottish independence referendum. Even the newspaper where the interview with Mr. Badri appeared, it's The Telegraph, which is closely aligned to the Conservative Party. And I spoke to a Scot in London recently who told me that regardless of where you weigh in, on which side of the independence camp you weigh in on, the lengths to which Westminster has been going to over the past 6 months even to fear or to scare Scots into thinking about the consequences if they vote for independence is almost humorous. We've had politicians in Westminster saying that Scotland would have to reapply for its EU membership if it broke away from the United Kingdom, that they might not afford to have a postal service, or that they wouldn't have enough money to create a proper armed forces. So both camps are engaged in a real propaganda battle at the moment. We're seeing lots of different facts and figures and statistics being thrown about from both sides, and at the moment it's difficult to tell where the truth lies.